So I want to get right to it. Like I don't want to do a lot of, hey, intro, let's get you warmed up. We only have an hour, and I have about 900 hours of content that I like to do. And I don't know exactly how much we're going to get through, but I want to help. I think insight is, there are two types of people. I'm going to call them onions and garlics. Okay? This has really blessed my life. Onions and garlics. Onions are those who, they have problems and they eat like an onion and it goes inside of them and churns and they don't share it with anyone. You keep it all to yourself and everyone says, how are you doing? Fine. And this onion is just stirring inside of you. And then people have their garlics and they have problems and they chew on their garlic and they share the problems with everyone. All right, and everybody knows they have problems because they share them. Neither is good or bad. I know sometimes you're like, oh, I hate garlics. Well, being an onion is not great because no one knows, right, that you're having an issue. What would you describe yourself as? Which way? Everybody is, part of some, but which way would you lean? Would you be an onion or a garlic? A garlic. It's okay to be a garlic. I'm more of a garlic. I think my wife, more of an onion. How many of you have problems, you internalize them and don't share? Any of you? Yeah, you keep it to yourself, right? How many of you are garlics? You're like, I talk about my problems. I process out loud. Okay, this is one of the best, Chad, you already know these kind of things, but this is one of the best little portions of advice I was ever given. Someone said, I had a therapist, Sheldon, you know Sheldon Martin, he said, when you're dealing with an onion, or when you're dealing with a garlic, garlics most often learn through consequences. It's that's how they learn. I have a sister who's total garlic, and I could talk to her forever, and nothing changes. She only learns through consequences, and that's okay, right? Learning through consequences are awesome. He said, with onions learn through insight. You can give them insight, and they internalize it, makes them feel better. They go, oh, okay, and they can deal with their problems. So what I'm hoping to do today, I can't give you consequences. Did I do that? Did I turn something off? Okay, you let me know if I turn something off there. Oh, maybe the computer went off. That was probably my fault. I got here last night, you guys, and okay, is it back up? Okay, that was my fault. I'm going to have to keep it moving. So let's go back. Okay, insight, that's my hope today. I can't give you consequences, right? I can't be like, hey, let's all experience consequences of our choices right now. But those of you who are onions, I'm hoping to provide just insight after insight after insight that can really help. So I went back to school in 2008. I went back to school and got a doctorate degree. It's a lot like dying. You die in 2008 and you come back to life in 2014 and everything's changed. Everything's changed, right? Your kids have grown up. The Jazz aren't good. Well, they were never good, but they're not good anymore. The world has changed. But you come out, it's like eating the same meal every day for 6 years. You love it at first, then you get tired of it, then it just becomes who you are, right? It just becomes part of the way you live. My dissertation, I decided, would be on high trust relationships. And how you form those and how what's the benefit of having a high trust relationship. So I'm going to give you a little mini, I did the 5.5 years, and I'm going to give you the insights. So you don't have to go through the 5.5 year process. Now, I'm not here to talk about internet restrictions because I don't know about those. I want to share with you things I've actually studied. So there are other people who understand that world, and I think you should invest in that and go into that world. So by talking about relationships, it's not that I'm discounting other things. It's just that's what I know about. Does that make sense? That's what I've studied. That's what I understand. So I hope you'll use all the tools that are available to you, and this is one of many, although I do think it is a key. So let's do this. Let's start this way. How many of you, ask the person next to you if they think they could name the most valuable piece of art in the United States. Like in the United States, where would I go to see the most valued piece of art? Not valued like personally, but economically. Where would I go? I'd go to New York City. I would go to New York and what would I look at? Okay, it sounds like I've got some smart people here. It sounds like you have some ideas. All right, you would go to the Met and you would look at this painting. Do you know what it is? Starry Night. Anybody get it right? Anybody get it right? Vincent van Gogh, or Van Gogh if you want to say it wrong. Vincent van Gogh painted Starry Night. He only sold one painting his entire life, and it wasn't even this one. I wish I could go back. If anybody has this, let me know, and I'll take it off your hands. $182 million, I think, was the last valuation. So I read an article on Starry Night written by a woman who had done her master's thesis just on the painting itself. And what she did in one part of it was cut it up into pieces, not the original, but a really nice replica she took and cut up into tiny pieces, wanting to analyze the brushstrokes. And what she thought was tens of thousands of brushstrokes was actually hundreds of thousands of brushstrokes. It's just incredible amount of work. And look at them. I mean, this is a 2-inch by 1-inch piece. I mean, these are just intricate, tiny brushstrokes. And I was looking at this, I thought, which one was it, do you think? Which one was it that put it up at $182 million? Search it out. Is that yellow one, that dark blue one? I had one guy raise his hand once and he said, the signature. And I was like, okay, that's actually pretty good. But the answer is none of them, right? None of them. It's all of them put together. But look at them individually. They're not very impressive, right? There's no brushstroke in there that you would go, that's the one. That changed everything. It's all of them, and honestly, you and I could do all of them. Like, I could do that. I could make that little yellow brushstroke on the canvas. I could make that tiny dark blue brushstroke. What it is it's all of them put together. Little tiny brushstrokes. And that's how high trust relationships work. There's no big grand thing you do in a high trust relationship. It's tiny little brushstrokes. In isolation, they're not super impressive. You wouldn't look at something I tell you to do to build high trust and go, oh, that's it. That changes everything. It doesn't. It's a small little thing you might even do anyway. So if I want to take any relationship and I want to transform it into a high trust relationship, there are steps you have to take. Now, I would love to tell you, oh, I gave birth to it. It's going to trust me. It just doesn't work that way. Oh, we've been married for 30-something years. Of course, he's going to trust me. It doesn't work that way. I wish it did. I wish it would just be that simple, but it's not. If you want to have a high trust relationship with someone, so let's say that I have this student, all right, and I really need this student to trust me. I can't go immediately into high. Let's do this. The way to build trust in a relationship with very little trust is it's the same in everywhere. I've looked for workarounds. I've read all the research. It's part of what you have to do to get a dissertation. You almost vomit back all this research. And there's only one way, and that is through interaction that has 4 characteristics. It's frequent, personal, positive, and low risk. Frequent, personal, positive, low risk. I spoke for a business out in Michigan once, and the man basically said, I need you to teach me how to get my people to trust me. And I said, well, you're going to have to spend time with them. And he went, I can't do that. And I was like, okay, well, do you have anybody who's willing to do that? Because that's the person they're going to trust. We trust people who we have frequent, personal, positive, low risk interaction with. Frequent, I think we understand that. I see you if I see you once a year, we're not going to have a high trust relationship. It's just not going to happen. Personal, Kalani Sataki and I have a lot of interaction. It's just he's on TV. So he doesn't know we're best friends. It would probably freak him out how close we are. So it's got to be personal, meaning we're in front of each other, right? We're interacting with each other. Positive, I think everybody understands that, right? Everyone walks away going, oh, they're nice, I like that. This is the one that's probably hardest for most people, is low risk. I've got to have frequent, personal, positive, low risk interaction. Low risk interaction would be something small. It might be a text during the day, like in a marriage. It's a text, it's a brushstroke. How are you doing? I'm thinking about you. That's a little tiny brushstroke. Not super impressive, doesn't really change anybody's life, but it's frequent, it's personal, it's positive, it's low risk. High risk would be something like I'm with I have 3 sons at home. Let's say I'm talking to my 3 boys. We had a great time. We were playing cards or something. And then I said, okay, I brought everybody's grades, right? Let's look at them all together. We went from low risk to high risk. We all of a sudden had a high risk moment, and people are going to walk away. It's not going to be positive, right? It's not going to be positive anymore. I'll have parents ask me this: How come my child will talk to her friends and not me? Guess who she has all the frequent, personal, positive, low risk interaction with? Her friends. Her interaction with you is frequent, personal, negative, and high risk. And of course she doesn't trust you, because the only way to build a relationship of trust is frequent, personal, positive, low-risk interaction. So ask the person next to you, say, what does that look like in real life? If I want to build trust with a spouse or a child, what would that look like? Tell them to go first. Say, you go first. What would that look like in real life? Frequent, personal, positive. You're probably already doing a lot of it. Frequent, personal, positive, low-risk interaction. Like that, right there. A hug. A compliment. Turn to the person next to you and say, I like your face. Watch what happens. A positive interaction. Let me give you some ideas. One would be going on a date as a married couple. Going on a date every week. And some of you are like, oh, we don't have time. You don't have time not to. This has to be a priority. It's frequent, personal, positive, low-risk interaction. And keep it low risk. We don't have to solve all the world's problems tonight. We can actually go out and just enjoy our time together. Bedtime is a great time to have frequent, personal, positive, low-risk interaction. If you have a teenager, texting them is a great way to have frequent, personal, sending them a meme. Sending them a 6'7" meme they will think you're the greatest thing ever, right? Frequent, personal, positive, low-risk interaction. You want to have as many of these as possible. Each one is a brushstroke. Does that make sense? Each one is a brushstroke. But how many of you forget to do this? Who forgets to do this in their relationships? We do. We get busy, and pretty soon, all of a sudden, we have some distance there. Let me tell you how you know if it's kind of like oil in a car, right? It's got to be regularly changed, the oil in the car. But if you don't, there's going to be some symptoms of that you haven't invested in trust lately. Let me give you an example. Would be things heat up quickly, like in an engine. Things heat up quickly. So you might say to your wife, "You look nice tonight." What is that supposed to mean? All right, we have not spent time trusting, right, building each other in a long time. With your child, hey, I want to talk to you. No. Oh, wow. And by the way, if you have a symptom of it, it doesn't mean you have to get rid of the car, right? When you have a low oil light come on, you don't say, well, all right, new car. No, you just go and you invest in the oil, right, in the trust. So when you see low oil lights, like things heat up really quick, things get emotional really quick, people start to avoid each other, right? This would be oil lights, low trust lights. Now there are high trust lights. That would be weird if your car gave you a good job light, like we're feeling great. But there are high trust lights, like people are seeking out each other. Right? They're talking with each other. It's pretty natural. In fact, why do we want to get to high trust? If we can get to high trust, then all the stuff we want to have happen happens. Then we're starting to work with each other. I enjoy you. It becomes fun to interact with you. How many of you would love to have your teenager love to spend time with you? How many of you would love that? Right? Would love that. And they don't, and so what do? You get mad at them, and they're like, this is helping. Now I want to spend a lot of time with you, right? So we invest in frequent, personal, positive, low-risk interaction. And be creative. Be creative with this. Let me give you something that we did in our family. we decided, each of our children were born on a different day of the month, right? So we have one on the 20th, one on the 14th, two came on the 16th, but they're okay being one for now. And on that day of every month, we do something for them. So we just call it their special day, and they go to lunch with mom or dad, or both. Right? And it's not big. They're not, what do you want to do this month? Go to Disneyland. We're not going to Disneyland on your special day. We're going to Carl's Jr., all right? On your special day. But what is it? It's frequent, personal, positive, low-risk interaction. Before we go any further, could you just make a couple of notes in a phone or something about what you might do? Because if you won't do this, I can't get you to the good stuff. If you don't remember to do this and have things that you do, and it's much easier when you put them in traditions, when you put them into daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, things that happen automatically. We go to Lake Powell. Any of you go to Lake Powell every year? Anybody do that? And it doesn't have to be Lake Powell, but why do people go to Lake Powell every year? Because that's where we kind of bond. We have long talks under the stars, right? We've got to build these into our life because you can't just constantly be thinking, oh, I've got to figure this out. I've got to do something, and wait for it to get bad and then do something good and then wait for it to get bad. Instead, it's got to be regular maintenance. So will you ask the person next to you, say, give me 3 things you've thought of that you could do. Tell them to go first. Say, what 3 things that you've thought of you can do? We can get back on our date night every night. We can get back to playing cards on Sunday evening. We'll pick up season tickets to this or that. We're going to go back to Friday night, movie night. Now, if you're willing to do this, we can get to high trust. We really can get there, and it's pretty incredible. The relationships that other people have that you're jealous of, you can have those relationships if you're willing to do this over and over and over. And sometimes, especially for parents, this has to be more of a priority than other things because oftentimes this takes a back seat. Have you noticed? Because we're very busy, we got to make money. And making money is more important than this interaction sometimes. And maybe it is sometimes, but if it always is, right, you're going to end up wealthy and lonely, right? So you've got to sometimes say, you know what, it's worth it to give that up, whatever that thing is, and go do this. For example, I go to the gym every morning with my 15-year-old son. And he doesn't love it, but we enjoy it. Like, he doesn't love working out, but he loves going, right? Mostly so he can do Duolingo there. Now I could go there and have negative interaction with him, right? Be like, we got to work harder, right? But then all of a sudden I've made it frequent, personal, negative, right? That's not what I want. So we do what we can to make it positive. That's the goal. How many of you have ever had an interaction with your family and your goal was to have a happy experience, and so you were like, "We're going to stop fighting. We're gonna be happy. So help me. You know how much this cost me. You are gonna be happy." If our goal is just to have a positive experience, sometimes we don't accomplish the goal, the other goal. Does that make sense? So, okay, how about this? Let's give you a scenario. I come home. And one of our rules in our family is on Saturday you have to clean your room, okay? So I go downstairs and I walk into my daughter's room and here is matter unorganized, right? Like, what in the world? So what do I do now? It's got to be, I'm hoping I can keep it frequent, personal, positive, low risk interaction, but still have the rule, right? Okay, so what are my options? One would be save the relationship, but don't keep the rule, which would be what? I don't care. I shut the door, right? No, actually, I shut the door would be, I don't have a relationship and I don't keep the rule, right? I shut the door because I'm busy. One would be, I'll do it for them. So the relationship is maybe still pretty good, but we didn't enforce the rule. how many of you would go to let's do the rule and not the relationship? I lean this way where I'm like, Madeline Smith, what? Come in here. Who's done this? Come in here. What do you see? Nice stuff. Have you ever been condescending to them? Where you're like, what is that? That's dirty laundry. What do we do with dirty laundry? We pick it up and put it in the, right? It's super. I've saved the relationship, right? So how many of you lean towards, I'll just do it for them? It's okay. Raise your hand if you're like, how many of you lean towards, we will do this no matter what it does to your self-esteem? How many of you lean that way? Okay, so I've got my three options are do nothing, do it for them, or make them do it. Like ruin the relationship, but make them do it. Now, sometimes it's like a false dichotomy, right? I got to be the good guy or the bad guy. Good guy or bad guy. How many of you are the bad guy in the mom and dad role? Who's the bad guy in the mom and dad role? All right, and who's the good guy? Who's the good guy? And how many of you have ever complained about being the bad guy in the role? And you're like, I want to be the good guy for a while. And so you try it and you're like, I'm not good at it. I'll go back to being the bad guy, right? I'm good at being the bad guy. So is there another option? None of you are going to be the one that does nothing. So is there another option besides good guy, bad guy? Ask the person next to you, do you see another option? Is there another option? Is there another way to think about this? Be creative. Is there a way to keep the rule and save the relationship? Is there a way to do both? See if I think I have this for us. Here it is. Sorry, I should have put this up earlier. So here we have, look on the bottom left, low care, right, and low demand. Low care and low demand. So did you ever have, when I was 16, I had a 17-year-old boss. You want to talk about low care for people and low demand, right? I'd come late. Sorry, I'm late. I don't care, right? I'm sorry, late. I broke that machine. It's fine. I don't care, right? Best boss ever. But as a parent, that's pretty hard to work with. Permissive would be, I want to save this relationship with absolutely zero demand, right? Zero accountability, and I'll be the good person. And you end up being kind of a doormat, right? And it's not a great lesson for your children, which is, by the way, don't have boundaries. Just save people no matter what. But then we have authoritarian, like the drill sergeant, right? Who's high demand, but my care and concern for the person. So what is that upper quadrant? Does it exist? It does in the research. In the research, it's called authoritative, but I don't love that word because no one knows what it means. So I just use this term wise parenting, where you try to stay like, how do I do both? How do I both keep the rule and save the relationship? And so that exact scenario happened that I told you about. And I try to live this stuff, not very often, but I try to do what I'm talking about. And so I had this moment where I thought, okay, what can I do? Then I can use it in my talks. And then going back to be authoritarian. And my idea was, at the time, The Greatest Showman had come out. Do you remember this? And the music was good for the first 10 times. And then when it got to 300 times, when your daughter's like, this is the greatest show, right? And you're like, I can't do it. I can't do it. Never, 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 right? You're like, it's never enough. I said, hey, let's listen to The Greatest Showman. Really? I'm like, yeah, I know you love it. Let's listen to The Greatest Showman. We'll sing and we'll clean. She's like, fine. So we sang Greatest Showman and we cleaned. We got we had demand, accountability, and we had high care and concern for people. And we had a great time. We had a great time. Now, again, that was one win out of 1,000 losses, all right? So I don't want to hear being like, oh, I wish I could be that. No, I'm not that way either. But occasionally, right, occasionally we'll have these moments where you think, no, there's a third alternative here if I don't give in to the false dichotomy that I've got to be one or the other. Okay, if you haven't read this book, Grit, I would highly recommend it. Angela Duckworth is an incredible researcher. This is what she said. She did a chapter on parenting for grit, and I liked what she said. She said, as a researcher, I don't have data for this. It would be a long-term study, so I'm just going to give you what I think because I know that you need it. And I love that she said that. I'm going to give you the best I have, even though I don't have a lot of data. I'm going to try to form some conclusions. She said, first and foremost, there is no either or trade-off between supportive parenting and demanding parenting. It's a common misunderstanding to think, oh, tough love is a balance between affection and respect, a firmly enforced expectation. She said, there's no reason you can't do both. Over 40 years of research, study after study has found that children of psychologically wise parents fare better than children raised in any other kind of household. Here it is. Regardless of gender, ethnicity, social class, or parents' marital status. Those are huge factors in someone's life. Teens with, these are the 3 words I want you to write down, warm, respectful, and demanding parents earned higher grades in school, were more self-reliant, suffered less from anxiety and depression, and were less likely to engage in delinquent behavior. Warm, respectful, and demanding. Wise parents are accurate judges of their psychological needs of their children. They appreciate that children need, now here are 3 words again, you can just write them next to the other ones you just wrote, love, limits, and latitude. What's love up on the top paragraph? Warm. What is limits? Demanding. And what is latitude? Respectful. Warm, respectful, demanding, or in other words, love, limits, and latitude. Now, as parents, we're pretty good at some of these. So if you have your children here, this is going to be fun. If your children are online, you can maybe take a screenshot of this and send it to them. And by the way, you might have to somehow do this in a way where they can give honest answers, right? So right now, any child in this room can give us honest answers, and you cannot be punished for the answers that you give right now, right? Agreed? Everyone pinky promise, all moms and dads pinky promise that I will not punish you nor be offended on the very honest answers you give me right now. Okay, here we go. This is the survey that Angela uses to talk about those 3 things: warm, respectful, demanding, love, limits, and latitude. Here's number 1. I can count on my parents to help me if I have a problem. Answer it out loud. Yes. My parents spend time just talking to me. Okay, yeah, all right, here we go. I did this with my kids. Some of these were great, and some of them I was like, yes, I do. My parents and I do things that are just fun together. We do fun things. Okay, now when it's in italicized, it's a negatively coded question. So it's meant to do measure the same thing, but reverse. My parents don't ever really like me to talk to them about my problems. You can ask them, say, is that true? Do I want to hear about your problems? Okay, the next one. My parents rarely praise me. My parents rarely give me praise. Okay, how did they do? Out of 5, how did they do? All right, you can do mom and dad, I guess, on different. You're like, mom, 5. Dad. All right. Respectful, here we go. My parents believe I have a right to my own point of view. No. I see some parents here going, they don't. Okay, this is a good lesson then. My parents tell me their ideas are correct. I shouldn't question them. This one's a hard one. My parents respect my privacy. Oh, I got a yes and a no from the same family. My parents give me a lot of freedom. I give my kids freedom. I let them pick their socks. Right? I let them pick their socks. Come on. Out of like 2 or 3 choices of socks. My parents make most of the decisions about my life, what I can do. This is interesting, isn't it? That's a hard one for a lot of parents. The respectful one, the latitude one. It's hard to strike that balance. Okay, this one most parents are really good at. My parents expect me to follow rules. My parents let me get away with things. My parents point out ways I could do better. I love this. Some parents are like, I finally found one that I'm really good at. When I do something wrong, my parents don't punish. No. Yeah, you're like, no, they do. My parents expect me to do my best even when it's hard. Okay, ask the person next to you which one of these you could probably be better on. Ask your dad, which one of these do you think you could maybe be better on? Which one of these could you maybe do better on? Now, mom, dad, make a note. Make a note somewhere where you can say, okay, I am going to work on this. And remember, we're not looking for perfection. We're looking for progress, not perfect. Okay? As a parent, you're like, how am I ever going to do this? That's not, the point is not to be perfectly warm, right? And perfectly demanding. The point is to get better. And if you're getting better, we're on our way. Why is this worth it? Look at this last one. Why? Here we are, regardless of gender, ethnicity, social class, parents' marital status, teens with warm, respectful, demanding parents earned higher grades, were self-reliant, suffered less from anxiety and depression, were less likely to engage in delinquent behavior. These sound like good things. These sound like outcomes I want. So it's worth investing. It's worth taking some time away from work and sitting down with these questions and saying, okay, how can I adjust my behavior? How can I do things just a little bit differently? Do you know who the first man in America to make $1 million in a year was? It was a long time ago. His name is Charles Schwab. They asked Charles Schwab, how'd you do it? How'd you get so rich? This is what he said. I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm among my people the greatest asset I possess. Really? Of everything you do, making people enthusiastic is the key? The way to develop the best that is in a person is by appreciation and encouragement. There is nothing else that so kills ambition from of a person than criticism from their superior. Okay, marriage. I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm in my spouse the greatest asset I possess. And the way to develop the best that is in your spouse is by appreciation and encouragement. There is nothing else that so kills the ambition of a husband or wife than criticism from their partner. You might turn to your husband or wife if they're here and say, I'm going to do better. Go ahead and tell them. I'm going to do a little bit better. Sorry about that. I'm getting a little too critical of you. Parents, I consider my ability to arouse enthusiasm in my children the greatest asset I possess. And the way to develop the best that is in a child is by appreciation and encouragement. There is nothing else that so kills the ambitions of a child as criticism from a parent. Criticism from a parent. Now, I know some of us are like, well, I have to point things out. Yes and no. When you criticize someone, something happens in their brain. This is mostly from the Harvard Business School in business, right? Because we have to give employees feedback on their performance. And how do you do that well? When you criticize someone, it forces them automatically into their limbic system. And their limbic system is either fight, flight, or freeze, right? And they're no longer listening to you. This really is this way. So you go in to talk to your daughter and you say, listen, we have to talk. They go into their limbic system. Now, what is their body getting ready to do? Fight, run, or freeze. Don't do anything. And you think they're listening, right? You think they're getting all this. We're having this wonderful talk, right? They are really getting all of this. No, all their blood is going to their arms and legs, right? And this is the way their brain is designed. It's designed to go into fight, flight, or freeze, which means pump the blood through the body and get the adrenaline going, right? And they are not listening. And it's not because they're a bad child. It's because they're this thing called scientists call alive. They're called humans, and their brain goes into the limbic system, and you have this long half-hour talk, and they are in fight, flight, or freeze mode, and guess what changes? Nothing changes. How many of you have ever said, we talked about this? Who's ever done this? We just talked about this, right? Like yesterday, we had a long discussion about how terrible you are, and how you weren't going to be terrible anymore, right? And they're like, yeah, sorry, right? If you want to keep someone in their prefrontal cortex, which is where they're actually able to learn and make decisions and think through problems and listen, you have to keep them out of that limbic brain. And it's an art. You have to navigate it, right? You have to give feedback in a way that doesn't cause them to get into that panic mode. And you can't just tell them. That's my favorite advice. You're panicking. Don't panic. Oh, okay. I hadn't thought about that. That was really helpful. You guys ever done that? You're nervous? Don't be nervous. Okay, man. Thank you for being here. I would have never calmed down without you. This is what I'm talking about here, and I'm going to go pretty basic, so it's just easy for you to grasp. Formal authority versus moral authority. Formal authority is I do what you say because I have to. If I don't do what you say, there are serious consequences. I do what you say because you have to. Moral authority is I do what you want because I do what you say because I want to. I want to do what you say. So how many of you have someone with formal authority in your life? You have to do what they say or you have serious problems. How many of you have people like this? We all do. They're called the police, right? The last time you got pulled over, you weren't like, yay, I got chosen. No, right? You were like, I have to pull over or else there's serious problems. April 15th. Who has the IRS? Who has formal authority? Who has under formal authority the IRS? I've yet to meet an adult that's like, this is my favorite day. This is my favorite day. They are so good with this money, right? You do it because you have to. That's called formal authority. Moral authority is I do what you say because I want to. So I'm going to ask you a pretty extreme question, but I really want you to think through it. Who could call you in the middle of the night, and it's pretty extreme, and say, I know this is really strange. I need you on a flight to New York. I will tell you. I promise to tell you later. Just please go get on a flight. Okay, name the few people you would do that for. Out loud, besides your children. All right, I know you're like, I got to bail them out. Besides your children, who would you do it for? Is there a sibling? I have one of 4 siblings I would do that for. The other 3, I'd be like, you're drunk. Well, one of them, I'd be like, how are you talking to me? You're dead. So let's go with the 3.
Maybe that's why you...
Yeah, I'd be like, I definitely would go if he called. Parents, maybe? A sibling, friend? Someone in your church? Someone in at your workplace? Okay, now here is the big question. And I really want you to think through this. How did they get that type of authority in your life? That's not formal authority. If the police said to me, if they called me and said, we need you on a flight to New York, we'll explain later, I would say, absolutely not, right? Absolutely not. You're going to explain everything, right? If the IRS said that, no, right? I'm not going to do that. But yet there are some people in my life I would actually do that for. So ask the person next to you and be serious about this. How did they get that kind of power? How did they get that kind of moral authority in your life? Here's the most frequent answer I get. Hank, I would do it for them because I know they would do it for me. I would do it for them because I know they would do it for me. Or in other words, we've had all this frequent, personal, positive, low-risk interaction together that we trust each other. I love this. This book's, by the way, this book cost you $2 on Amazon. Totally worth your time. The best leaders are those who people, what's that? $1 a DI. There you go, right? And I have a shelf there too. It's right next to John By the Way shelf. The John By the Way wing of DI. The best leaders are those whom people want to follow. We have a different word for people who others follow only because of force or need. We call them tyrants. How many of you parents have become a tyrant before? Who's done this? Become a tyrant. I know, this wasn't the dream, was it? This wasn't the dream. You're going to have kids one day. Yeah, I can't wait, and make them cry. Right? Have them be so angry at me that they yell at me that they hate me. I can't wait. Can't wait for that. Why'd you become a tyrant? How'd it happen? Happened to me too. How'd it happen? I'm afraid. I'm tired, right? I'm scared and I'm tired. And we act this way. This is a man who was an incredible car salesman, okay? Sold more cars than almost anybody in America. He said, please remember the experience of a friend of mine. He had never owned a horse in his life until he married a wonderful woman who loved horses. Wanting to impress his new bride, he announced one evening he was going to pasture. He was going to teach a colt how to be led. He weighed more than the colt. He knew more than the colt. He assumed all he would need to do was pull on the rope, and sooner or later, the colt's going to follow him. He was confident this process would be short and simple. Anybody work with horses? Who works with horses? This is going to be short and simple. I love this story. He attached the lead rope to the halter, got in front of the colt, and pulled. Shockingly, the colt resisted. So my friend pulled harder, and the colt planted his legs more firmly. So he really pulled, and the colt fell over. This process was repeated several times until my friend made this assessment. In just 4 or 5 minutes, he had successfully taught the colt to fall over. All he had to do was get in front of it, pick up the rope, and over it would go. I love that. I would love to see him walk up. Watch this. Watch what I can make it do. His wife, watching this process, finally suggested, hey, instead of getting in front of the colt and pulling, he might try wrapping the rope around the colt and hanging it. Just kidding. Wrapping the rope around the colt and walking alongside. To my friend's chagrin, it worked. There seems to be something inside each of us that resists being told or pushed or pulled. How many of you have this inside of you? You don't like being told what to do, right? And it's parents too. It's parents too, right? We do it to our kids, but we don't want someone in our life telling us what to do. But if someone puts her arm around us and walks alongside us, we are likely, or more likely at least, to follow. We are more likely to follow. So would you just put a sticky note on your bathroom door or something, or on your bathroom mirror that just says formal authority versus moral authority? Just something that's a reminder to you to go, okay, sometimes I have to use my formal authority. And I get it. Sometimes you have to put a rule in place. This is what it is, right? When your child is in the road, you don't go over and go, do you want to come out? I really want you to come out of the road, but I'm not going to make you, right? Because I want you to, well, got to get another one, right? Like, no. Sometimes you have to use your formal authority, but do you have to use it all the time? You don't always. I love these kids. No. You don't have to use your formal authority all the time. Let me give you an example. I was doing the dishes one night, big pile of dishes, and my daughter is over on her phone. And I said, hey, Maddie, you want to help me with the dishes? That was a terrible question. She said, no. Now, what I should have thought is, why doesn't she want to do what I ask? What have the price I have not paid to really earn, because if it was her mom, she'd do it. If her mom said, hey, Maddie, you want to help me? Sure. If it was her best friend, she wouldn't even be asked. She'd be over there helping. So why does she not want to help me? I should probably go think about this, write down the answers, and really work on this relationship. Nope. Guess what I went to? Formal authority. Who's ever made up new rules on the spot? Who's ever done this? New rules. This is the best part about being a parent, by the way, right? I am president. New rules. Executive Order 1000. She who does not help with the dishes does not keep her phone. You want to help with the dishes? Guess what she said? Yeah. She came over and helped. She had such a bad attitude, though, right? I mean, she didn't even want to engage with me. Her problem, right? Formal authority versus moral authority. Now, can you see with a phone and all that's available to our children, which one you need to have? Because formal authority, it can only take you so far. I'm going to say something profound, which is really rare, so pay attention. Rules and restrictions without a relationship usually lead to rebellion. That's a lot of R's. What's a pirate's favorite letter? R. No, it's actually the C. Rules and restrictions. He loved it. He loved it. All right. Rules and restrictions without relationships usually leads to, or often leads to, rebellion. Rebellion. We end up actually forcing our kids to a place we didn't want them to go because we're not willing or we're not thinking about nurturing the relationship. Can I show you something? When it comes to high trust, I had to study a lot of groups that were high trust. And I don't know exactly what you're going to get from this, but I wanted to show it to you. So one of the studies I got to, because they had moral authority in my life. I just wanted that degree so badly. One of the studies I read was, this is out of Harvard. It was a beautiful study, a woman named Edmondson. Okay, so this was her lead finding, and it confused people. And it's supposed to, she meant it to confuse you. This was her lead finding in her paper. High-performing nursing units report higher rates of mistakes. Now that should throw you, right? You should go, that makes no sense. Higher-performing nursing units report higher rates of mistakes? So then you read the study. You're like, this doesn't make sense. And then you find out the key word in this is report. Higher-performing nursing units don't commit more mistakes. They just report them. Lower-performing nursing units actually commit more mistakes. They just don't report them. Now, you guys, when I read this, these are real, serious mistakes. Like wrong medication, wrong dosage, right? Not checking on a patient, right? Because nurses are pretty busy. I don't know if you know this, but there's a lot of stress, and you make mistakes. Why would someone not report a mistake? There's no trust. And if I report a mistake, guess what might happen? I might lose my job, and I need this job, right? I've got kids relying on me. I've got a spouse relying on me. I need this job. And when people don't feel safe, remember this, profound thing number 2. This is a record. When people don't feel safe, they always turn to self-protection. They always turn to self-protection, right? If people feel safe, they'll work on other goals. They'll work outside themselves. But if they don't feel safe, it all goes in, right? And that's pretty normal. That's a pretty human thing to do. Let me go back. So the idea here was, sorry about that. I keep messing up this. The idea is, how can you create an environment of openness where people report their mistakes? Where your children come to you because they made a mistake. This one's going to be hard, but let me give this one to you. You have to find a way to reward voluntary confession. All right, I'm going to tell you, let's see. I think I'm going to tell you a story, and then I'm going to tell you 2 stories, and I'll be done. How long do I have? Do I have a few minutes that I can tell 2 stories and be done? Okay. Now, I like to tell stories because I think we can learn from them. So here's story number 1. This story is about my father. Now, my parents weren't perfect, absolutely not perfect. They grew up in abusive households, and they kind of passed a little bit that long to us. But you can acknowledge that and say, but they did have some good things for me to learn from. And one of those was this. Here's this story about my dad was a golf professional. I think that was said in the bio there. And have you ever forced your hobbies on your kids? Right? Anybody have their parents who force their hobbies on them? We're doing this, and it's fun because I love it. It was pretty much, that was our whole life, was golfing. And he taught us life lessons through golfing. We would be on the golf course, and he'd be like, see that sand trap? They put it there on purpose to trap you, right? They think you're going to take that shortcut, and so they put it there on purpose. And then he would talk about, how addictions are this way, that, beer companies and cigarette companies, they line this up on purpose, right? And I don't have to tell you, I definitely don't have to tell this group how large the pornography industry is, right? It makes more than Major League Baseball, the NFL, and the NBA combined every year in ticket sales and merchandise. It's $1 trillion industry. It's massive. And they set up traps on purpose. And he would teach us those lessons. We didn't love this all the time. So we came up with ways to make this time with our dad go faster, which is my sisters especially. They wanted to go play with their friends, right? They wanted to go out with their friends. So they'd said this, okay, when we all go golfing together, one, we go in the same order every time. Because we always take so long. Who's going to go next? Who's going to go next? What'd you get on the last hole? It doesn't matter. Going youngest to oldest every time. All right. You never look for a lost ball. Dad is pro. He gets them for free. Leave them. All right. Those of you who play golf, you're like, why would someone leave that? That was us. All right. Another one was if you hit the ball this close to the cup, within a foot of the cup, you never went to put it in. You picked it up and what left. So if I was in this close to the cup, right? If you was golf, the little tiny. Okay. So if I'm this close to the cup and I went to put it in, all my siblings would yell, "Move!" Right? Because there's incoming. All right, golf balls. And that's how we played, and we were able to clip along really quick. And my dad would always say, "These are really bad habits." We're like, yeah, whatever. Okay, so we grow up. My sister becomes a pro. She's the favorite. So I change people's lives, you guys. I go city to city and change people's lives. She hits a 2-ounce ball for a living. And guess who before he passed away, guess who his Facebook profile picture was? Yeah, not me. All right. I'm not bitter. It's fine. I just am saying she's the favorite. Okay. They always say they don't have favorites. That they do, don't they? Don't they? They have favorites. We all know. Okay. I love you all the same. Yeah, you don't like us all the same. All right. So, are you guys? You're like, wow, he needs some therapy. Nah, we just haven't got there yet. Okay. So. My sister was playing in the Utah State Amateur Tournament. Now, an amateur tournament, you don't win money, you win prizes, okay? So you're going to help me out with that? You want me to leave it? He's going to work on it. All right, sorry, I'm sure it's my fault. Okay, so she's playing in the State Am, and she's pretty good. And she is going into the third day. There's 3 days of golf in this tournament, 18 holes per day. And she's going in the third day as the leader. Now, that means she's going to tee off first. You get they prep the golf course, it's ready, and you're first to go. But you play with the girl in second place, third place, and fourth place. That's your group, okay? So it's pretty intense because everyone wants to win. Even though it's an amateur tournament, they all want to win because you don't win money, but you win prizes that you exchange for money, all right? So you're just one step away from money. And I think the prize was like $9,500, and this was back in the 1900s. All right, so she's going into the third day and she's leading. And on the 17th hole, she hits the final shot this close to the cup. And out of sheer habit, she walks over, picks up the ball, and puts it in her pocket and watches the other girls. And the 3 other girls kind of look at each other like, what did she just do? Right? What did she just do? Now, if you know golf very well, she can put her ball back down. She takes a 2-stroke penalty. But if she hits her next shot before placing the ball and finishing the hole, she's disqualified from the entire tournament. Right? Golf has very weird, specific rules. Right? In basketball, you go out of bounds, they just give the ball to the other team. In golf, they go out of bounds, it's over. You lose. All right, so she has no idea. She doesn't notice. And the other girls finish the hole, and they go to the 18th hole and drive, tee off, and they finish the tournament. Now, at the end of the tournament, you get your scorecard from someone in your group. So the girl in second place was keeping my sister's score. Of course, you're keeping your own score to make sure that it's correct. So she gets her card, and you have to sign your card. You have to sign it that it's correct. And she said, "You didn't give me a score on 17." And the girl says, "You didn't finish the hole." "Yes, I did. I finished the hole. I got a 4. Look, I finished the hole." "You didn't finish the hole? You picked up your ball?" "No, I didn't. You're right. Second place and first place." And the girl in third place and fourth place said, "Yeah, you picked up your ball. You totally picked up your ball." And it got pretty heated, and they had to go see the referee. I don't know if you know that, but every golf tournament has 1 referee. He's in the clubhouse. And that day just happened to be my dad. So I was there. I remember this. It was a great day. So I was 14 years old, and I had to go to work with him and, take scorecards and shuffle them, take the card, put it right there. The reason my dad kept us with us the whole time is because we'd get into trouble, right? So sometimes you just take your kids to work so they don't find their own work, right? Don't find their own challenges. So I'm there and I'm helping him, and these 4 girls come up, I mean, it's like, have you ever had 4 people yell at you at the same time, right? Because they all want to get the first edge in. They all want to talk about the first thing. And she didn't, and he said, calm down, everybody calm down. What happened? What happened? Chantel, what happened? This is my sister. What happened? I finished the hole. They said I didn't finish the hole. They said that she didn't give me a score. Okay, what happened to the girl? She didn't finish the hole. She hit the ball with like this close to the cup and then went and picked it up. I don't know why. What happened to the third girl? Yeah, that's what happened. What happened? You can see over the 3 witnesses here that my sister is getting less confident in her argument, right? He knows her. He knows we've done this for years. And he looked back at her, and I'm like looking at him and her, and everyone's quiet. And she just goes like this. I still remember. She goes, Daddy. Who has this tactic? Who has the daddy tactic? You do. I can see it. Right? This won't work for boys, by the way. You go up to your dad and you're like, Daddy. He's like, but your sister goes up to your dad and goes, Daddy. And he's, come here. Who hurt you? And she does it. She goes, Daddy. Now, what's she saying? Come on. I won. Right? Like, yeah, maybe I did this, but it's a 6-inch putt and it's $10,000. I won. Come on. Right? And I just remember he looked at her and he sighed. He went, oh, I'm so sorry. You're disqualified. And he tore up her card and set it aside. She flipped. Do any of you have an irrational sibling? She flipped out. She was like, she went to each girl. I beat you and you know it. I beat you and you know it. And I beat you and you know it. Right? And she looked at my dad, tears. Right? And she leaves. You can hear her in the parking lot. She's so angry. And he looked at me like, ooh, that's going to be a problem. I was like, for you? It's not going to be a problem for me. So she was really, she missed the best part. Well, the best part was her getting disqualified. But she missed the second best part. It's when my dad said to the 3 girls, did you all see her break a rule? Yes. Did you tell her? No. I'm so sorry, girls. You're all disqualified. It's against the rules in golf to see someone break a rule and not tell them. So the girl in 5th place was like, wait, what? She went from like a $50 gift card to $10,000, right? They all got disqualified. So years later, I'm speaking down in Florida. Remember, I changed lives. She doesn't. And she picked me up at the airport. That's where she lives. She's playing professional golf down there. And I was speaking down there. And I said, come pick me up. We'll go to lunch. So we went to lunch, and we were just chatting. I said, don't you have a tournament this weekend? She said, yeah, I got disqualified. And I was like, what? She said, yeah, I had 15 clubs in my bag. And you can only have 14, right? So she said, I played a single hole with 15 clubs in my bag, and they found it, and they're disqualified from the whole thing. And I said, does this happen to you a lot? And she said, no, I've only been disqualified 3 times in my life. This one, another one when I first got here. And she said, the first one was back in Utah. Do you remember? I think you were there. And I was like, and I totally forgot. I was like, I do remember that. And we rehashed it. She's like, I remember. And I was like, Dad. And I remember laughing about it. And I said, did you really think he was going to do it? And she said something that was one of those moments where my life was different after she said it. And she didn't mean to. She goes, are you kidding? It's Dad. That's all she said. Are you kidding? It's Dad. Has he ever done a dishonest thing in his life? And I thought, I could not think of a time. My dad had his own issues, his own problems. But I cannot think of a time my dad ever was dishonest with us or in front of us. Why did we trust him? Because he was consistent. He was reliable, right? In hurting her, he actually built trust with her. In hurting her, he actually built trust with her. All right, how long do my time is up. Oh, it's so sad. I had a great story to tell you. You'll have to invite me back. I want to let's go back to where we started. Here, well, you can't see that, but I'll read it to you. There's something inside each of us that resists being told or pushed or pulled. But if someone puts an arm around us and walks alongside us, we are likely to follow. Will you do me a favor? Will you put your arm around the person next to you? Put your arm around next to you. Tell them we're going places. We're going places. Thank you so much, you guys. Thank you for having me. You've been wonderful. Thank you. commitment.